I know it's good. I can't see myself. It makes me feel a lot better. Makes me feel a lot better. So, the way that we did this last time, guys, if you're going to talk, you just should go home. So, the thing that we're going to do is power, and looking at how power is represented in both of the texts, what the similarities are and what the differences are. Within comparative, it's really important that you do talk about differences as well as similarities, that you don't just kind of go, oh, well, I can only talk about the things that are similar. No, you definitely can talk about things that are different in the texts and why it is that things are different. Like, why is it that some representations or some of the, like, authorial messages, why are they different? That's important too. So, should we do similarities first? Okay. Similarities. Okay. So tell me, what is similar about the idea of power in the texts? Yep. Good. Hey. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just it's just like the, you know, this camera. Hi. I just don't like seeing the little square of my face while I'm doing it. Just makes me very self-conscious. You just end up like kind of getting freaked out all the time. Okay, so Finton's hit the fundamental. So well done. I'm handing out prizes today. Finton. So I know. Say something good, you get a lolly. Or a dictionary. Or a dictionary. If you ask, you can score a dictionary. Shh. Come on. Yes, we're all very excited that Jordan's arrived. Me too. It's great. It's awkward. Okay, so the white characters hold all the power in both texts. That's definitely a definite. What else have we got? What else is similar in both texts about this power struggle that's going on? Yeah, in the text we have representations of like characters of colour trying to struggle for more power, more autonomy over their own lives. Yeah. Characters of colour struggle to attain more power, autonomy. Yep. Elise.
Like if you got more authority, you have, like the higher authority you are, the more power you have. Kind of like the slaves and like, or is that?
What do you mean?
Like if you're like a master, like you have more power.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
Is that right? Like
yeah, but like that you should have more power. If you're a boss, you should have more power. That's okay.
There's the illusion of power.
Pardon?
The illusion of power.
Yeah, that there is the illusion of power in both texts. Yeah.
So the idea that Whitechapel has some semblance of authority, but really he doesn't.
Good, yeah. So Whitechapel and well, I would say that the boys feel like they have a sense of autonomy, that they can change their fate.
Yeah, and they feel like they're in control.
And they have no ability to change their fate.
And they feel like they're in control, I think, at some point when they're at war.
And when they come home, they feel like they can do something. And it's like, nope.
Gets his power stripped from him when he's interned. Yeah.
And what does he say? The most senior slave on the plantation. Yeah. as if he talks about that. Boys, you can go and talk outside. You don't have to talk in here. Yeah. He uses that phrase, the most senior slave on the plantation, like it's a badge of honor. Like it's something that you earn, and it's like, no, you're a slave like everybody else.
This might be too digressing and too left of field. The idea that when somebody, the loyalty breeds power and respect, when in actual fact loyalty gains him nothing but really heartache. I don't know how you phrase that, but what I'm trying to say is that Whitechapel thinks that by being loyal, I think they say he's like, he's almost more unique than a white man, something like that. Plantation. I can't remember the quote we did today, but that whole idea that I'm loyal to you. You killed my son, I'm still loyal to you.
It's crazy how loyal he is.
But there is really no power. He's just black, and that's it.
Yeah.
Below everyone, and loyalty really means nothing. I don't know.
Does that make sense? Mick, Nigel, and Archie believe they can control their own futures when they come back. Like they think they're going to make some sort of difference or something, and they just won't.
And the whole idea, they're even shunned by their contemporaries. So Archie's shunned by the other Aboriginals on the station. I'm not sure about Mick, he's got his land taken away from him. So,
Yeah.
And Nigel never quite fits in. So they're even, like, within their own, I can't say class, in their own race, they're even persona non grata.
Soon as they are home. Yeah. They're doing Tournament of Minds, and they've been in there since like 9 o'clock this morning. So I think they're just like they're starting to lose it, and they don't know that we can hear them. Bless. Okay. Go. We can hear you. So other things that we learn about power. Other things we learn about power in this text. Other ideas about power?
It's kind of mobile because
Yeah.
black people could earn some sort of power in black figures
Sure, if you want
through their merits, but also Whitechapel made saying this in time.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah, they can, that power can be bestowed on these people of colour, but it can only be bestowed by white people, can't it? Like, white people are in control of, almost like if power was like a faucet, they are in control of turning it on and off when you get some and when you don't. So, like, Whitechapel gets power when Mr. Whitechapel is willing to give him some, and same with the boys. The boys are allowed to have power when they go over and fight, and even like when the RSL steps in and kind of says, yeah, you can go, but they only get a sense of power, like they only are given power by white people. They can't just have it for themselves. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, let me think. My hair's all over the place too.
So they're given power when it's of use to someone else.
Of colour can have power at times. Whitechapel and Sanders Senior and Aboriginal men at war. However, this access to power is controlled by like white hands, isn't it? Like that they only get power when it's given to them. It's not something that they can like take for themselves. Chocolate flavoured Chupa Chup. Finton, you're winning all the lollies. Chop chop. You stick your hand up, you get stuff. Yep.
What is it? Names in here.
Yeah, the power of names. Good idea. No, that was Bosco. Bosco, lollipop, or we've got pizza shapes in here. We've got pizza shapes.
Oh,
For the,
What do you think pizza
I
shapes
got
was?
the one.
oh, actually, there might be one of those in here. I don't know what else. What else is in here? It's just like a mix of random stuff.
Yeah.
Can we mess? I told you, pizza shapes are in here. Pardon? Well, no, they both talk about the power of names. Guys. Tulevsky might be saying something smart. It might also be dumb, but 9 times out of 10 it's smart. So I know, right? It's a risky business. So Tulevsky. No, I'm
I
joking.
understand it could be a similarity, but individuals of colour in Black Diggers are named, whereas individuals in Longest Memory of Colour have names.
Have names given
Yeah.
forced upon them. But then remember they've got like I would say both texts explore the power of names, the taking away of them and the bestowing of them.
If they're called Whitechapel Prison Tower, because the owner is Whitechapel, they're under the protection of Whitechapel.
Yeah. So I think it's both a similarity and a difference. I would say the similarity is that they both explore the power of names, the power of giving a name and the power of taking one away. But interestingly, Black Diggers as a text gives names to the Aboriginal people as a form of like giving them an identity, which is ironic considering the text explores how Aboriginal people's names were taken from them. And then in The Longest Memory, Whitechapel shuns his name because he feels a sense that he has no power, and so a name means nothing. So yeah, it's interesting, but they both do explore the power of names. So the power of having a name,
So basically, it's Black Diggers,
power
they're given a name to show the audience how powerless they actually are.
and power
Yeah, it's showing how powerful these people are. So they've actually got a name.
having them taken away.
So they're perfectly
Yeah.
given names that aren't
Yeah.
reflective of the nation. So we
And-
can see.
And that idea of names often comes up in essay questions about names, the importance of names. That's why, you know, that quote with Tommy where he says, you know, Tommy had many names. He had the name that was that nobody else, that nobody knows now, and the name that he was called at school, and blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's a really good quote to know because the power of names comes up a lot. Ava. You don't eat lollies, do you?
I eliminated all sucroses from my diet.
Right. How do you feel about pizza shapes?
I'm good.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Sucrose.
Did you say both of them like there's characters that they do things like to feel more power, like over
Yeah.
their life?
Yeah. So like they act in ways that they wouldn't usually, like that is out of character in order to feel a sense of power. Yeah. So like Birdie signs up to war. Why? So we can. Yeah. Yeah. Characters, particularly young, naive characters. Young and naive characters take drastic actions in order to feel a sense of power. So we're saying Chapel and running away, and Birdie and joining up to war. Excellent. Gummy bears or lollipop? Gummy bears, dancing here and there and everywhere. That was a good throw. Han.
You talked
Yeah. Well, is that in both texts though? There's no women, so that's a difference. So yeah, but it's a very like. I think you'd struggle to argue that, but I would say it's a very good difference. So save that bad boy. We'll come back to you. In the meantime, have a lollipop. Huh. Yes.
I don't know how you feel about like
Shh.
the power of mind. You know how when the guys come back from war, they're trying to forget about the war, and then what's his name, Whitechapel, he's talking about he wants to forget his memories.
That like, so like forgetting is almost like a power, like is a powerful kind of weapon against that.
One of the only powers they do have.
Yeah, is to choose. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And the others turn to alcohol to forget things.
Look, Menashe, I made your suggestion sound smart. Ready?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
Repressing memories, forgetting, is one of the few powers that black characters have against their traumas. You're welcome. Would you like a Chupa Chup or a gummy? Chupa Chup. Well, what flavour do you want? Do you like creamy ones or do you like fruity ones? Fruity ones. Strawberry?
Yes, please.
Right. I hate creamy ones too. But like some people are all for them, but like whatever. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. Anything else that we want to say about similarities, about power? I'm going to just start a new page because otherwise the writing's going to start getting a bit small for me. What about the abuse of power? Why don't you start talking about the abuse of power? I would say there's a lot of similarities there in the abuse of power. Who abuses power in these texts? Plantation owners, yeah. Who else? It's white people, yeah. In both texts, white people not only have power, but they abuse it, yeah. And interestingly, not to put too much of a feminist spin on it, but I can't help it. It's white male characters that are shown as the people who exploit power. I think you're just projecting now. I think that's you just projecting. I'm really glad that Mr. Kenny doesn't have bald head, or that would have looked really bad on the video. Anything else? How do they exploit their power? You're not a student. Yes. Dominance. What kind of dominance? When you say dominance, how do they dominate? Okay, so they kind of exploit their authority.
What's the action they take?
Well, they exploit their authority. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
Then how? How do they exploit it? What do they do? What action? How would you show that?
Through obviously physical violence.
Violence, there you go. Yeah, that's it. They're the action, they're the verb. Through violence.
Physical violence. Good. Yep. I want to hang on. Turn that into a. There we go. There we go. How else do they exploit their power? Yep. Yeah, they dehumanize. With how? With words?
Taking away the name which links back to how going back figures how important apes and friends
Good, yeah. So they dehumanize by taking away names, animalistic references. Yeah. Lollipop or gummy? Lollipop. Oh, you get a new flavour. Lollipop or gummy? Jess. Watermelon? I think we all know why I don't teach PE. Is it smashed? It should be okay. Okay. All right. I'm just warming up, mate. I'm warming up. Finton.
Black people are barred from the power of education.
Good, yeah.
Black people, chapel is forbidden from reading.
Actually, I'm gonna put this in a new thing.
Nigel can, but they're not really encouraged, are they? How Nigel can, yeah. No, I think the only reason you could argue that Nigel can education is he was like, yeah, he's taking other taxidermist because he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been
Yeah. And in itself, that backfires on him. I'm adding it. Who said that, by the way? Finton. Finton, you are going to have like a sugar headache of a lifetime. Do you want to go savoury this time? Do you want to go more sweet? What? Right. Lollipop or gummy? Yeah. He might end up having it by the end. No.
Yeah, she's only for 6 years.
Because his oral presentation talked about that. Right.
That wasn't as good as Finton's.
I can't remember. Did I watch yours, Finton?
I was too scared.
Why am I not scary? I need to work on this. I feel like,
Oh, well, that's just my wrestling.
alright, I need to work on my scary. Maybe throwing lollies at kids doesn't help. Or maybe if I throw them hard enough. You only have to kill one. Right. So black characters are barred from the power of education. Yeah, that it strips them from being able to gain any sort of power through education. And actually, the Virginian is a really good one for that, about talking about like why we don't educate.
And even the plantation, there's one, if we give the blacks the vote, if we educate the blacks, what will happen? Women want them to vote too. So it's that idea that one thing will lead to another. We want to subjugate them so they won't be enlightened and they'll just accept their lot. The minute they're educated, they'll leave.
Precisely, yeah. Actually, hang on. I wanted to go back just to be a pain. Illusion of power. The other person I wanted to talk about with illusion of power was Nigel as well. I was talking to someone about this the other day, about how Nigel... So, because you guys were talking about Nigel having education, and the problem with Nigel getting education is that he feels like Nigel's been raised as a white kid, right? And it's really been a disservice to him because he feels like he doesn't understand his place in the world, right? So when he writes to the journalists and he voices his opinion, and they're like, oh, look at that, he can write. Oh, that's so impressive. He doesn't realise his position in the world, that nobody is going to give a shit about what he thinks. He doesn't understand that. And that's why it's such a blow for him that nobody cares what he thinks. Right? Yeah, so it's almost like that education has been, and that upbringing has been his downfall, just like Chapel. So... we were reading in our class the other day the Chapel chapter. And it talks about how it would have been better if Whitechapel had beat him and raised him as a slave, rather than the way that he raised him like a free man. It would have been better off if he'd been beaten by Whitechapel, because then at least he would have, not died at the hands of Sanders Jr., because he would have known his station in the world, right? So Nigel and Chapel,
And he wasn't only son too,
Believe
Chapel, so he was indulged.
they deserve
Such a brutal
Equal
way to
respect.
conception, they kind of made up for it, the love, over love.
and
Does that make sense?
yeah. What does he say? Better from him than to have my back stripped by.
Oh, the dramatic
yeah,
irony.
it's so sad
Yeah.
that it would have been better to be beaten by my father than being beaten by, to have my back stripped.
It's so sad, isn't it? That
Yeah. That a result of that misconception. Okay. Do you mind if I flip back? Is that going to be annoying? No? All right. Okay. Any other power things that you would talk about that we see? So we've talked about how a power is abused by predominantly white characters, predominantly white male characters in these stories. What about we talk about the effect of powerlessness? How does powerlessness affect these powerless characters? What effect does it have that is similar in both texts? Like how does powerlessness affect Whitechapel? We see it at the start of the text. That's when he feels the most powerless. Yep, Finton?
Nigel and Whitechapel, Nigel towards the end of the book thinks he doesn't belong in the community due to his race, and Whitechapel also thinks he doesn't belong.
Yeah, so powerlessness leads to a sense that you don't belong. So that is Nigel, I don't belong. He literally says it. And yes. And Whitechapel, where he says, I have no name.
And even Chapel too, he doesn't belong either. He's neither black nor white, so he never feels that. That's why he writes in the sonnets to really show how he's different.
Why Chapel?
Shut up.
Why Chapelle? A new fragrance. That's what it sounds like. Who said that? Finton. Finton is cleaning up lollipop. Just to change it up. Oh, you can have a new flavour. Lemonade. It's actually really good.
Offer up.
Mm.
Can I try?
No. Win one. Right. Yes, my love. Shh, shh, shh. Hey, I can't hear.
You say that in both texts, like their powerlessness. But their powerlessness leads them to like death, like
Yeah, it makes them desperate, doesn't it?
It's like wanting death.
Yeah. Powerlessness leads characters to wish for death. So obviously we've got Whitechapel, who wishes for death. And who wishes for death in Buck Diggers?
You know, he's the one that gets buried alive and then actually dies.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Tank Stand Tommy.
Did you say the realization of powerlessness? Too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say realization of powerlessness. When they really, when they realise the full.
That they don't have power.
Yeah, and I think Nigel realises that it doesn't matter these people are right, that he can read and write, he's a journalist. The fact that nobody cares, all they care that he's an anomaly, renders him wishing he'd rather be dead. Yeah.
Boy.
Boy.
Chopper Chap or gummies? Fruity or creamy?
And also Chapel, the realization that he is powerless
Cola?
leads him to run that leads to his death.
Or you can have something else.
And white chocolate, but
Let's see what else I got. You can try lemonade as well.
The very, very end.
yeah.
If you were white, I would want you for my father if only you were white. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so is it the realization that really hurts rather than the actual powerlessness? Is it the realization of such that actually hurts you? Yeah, I think that's that would be a really interesting paragraph to discuss. You know, or really you could write a whole essay on that. You know, is it the realization of powerlessness that hurts, or is it the actual powerlessness that really hurts? I think that's a really interesting question. Yes?
White people being scared of equality.
Good, yeah. So the reason for the exploitation of power is fear in both cases. Yeah? Like fear that, you know, that they're going to take over, fear that, you know, that the white people are going to lose out. Like it's fear that's really driving this exploitation of power.
And Sanders Senior, that quote when he says, you know, there's so many white chapels, that what if they turn on us?
Yeah.
The blood, yeah, that's at the end of the his
Yeah.
chapter, yeah. It's really interesting when he realizes we can't educate them.
Sanders Senior, and the Virginian does it as well.
And the plantation, the gentleman's club.
The Gentleman's Club,
And the
And he says, you know, if we start giving them equality, we'll have to give women the vote.
yeah. Sorry, and
white private and black diggers.
the White Private in Black Diggers. Excellent. Gummy or chop chop? Creamy or fruity? You can try another new flavour, raspberry. It's actually great. I've sampled wholeheartedly. It's actually really good, and it's not as tart as you think it's going to be. Do you want to try one? You don't even eat them. You don't eat sucrose. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I love the dehumanised. Yeah. The calves, they both been called calves. Pickaninny.
Anything else? They're kiddie proof. You twist them the opposite way that they go. Yeah. Although the other day I couldn't get it off, so I was like, I'll just use scissors and cut them up. And then I cut the lolly from the pop. And so it was just like a ball, and I was like, I'll eat it anyway. I was like, ridiculous. Anything else we want to add? Anything else? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. All right, should we move to differences? Oh, no. Jacob in for the intercept.
Could you say that there are some people with power that use that power to powerlessness?
Yeah, there are.
With less power. So, what was the one, I think, with Nick? He was trying to get his land.
Yeah.
People are saying-
And he wasn't just trying to get it for himself, he was trying to get it for everyone.
and
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
Why they advocate? They
Yeah.
advocate for rights. They lobby, they champion, they advocate.
He did, didn't he? Chop chop? Or dictionary, good call. Yes, you can have one. Meet me at the end and I'll give you a dictionary.
I just had you on dictionaries.
Yeah. So we have a game in my class that if you say something clever and you need a new dictionary, I have old dictionaries I'm buying from op shops, and you can win one instead of a lolly.
That's true.
So if you say something clever, you can go dictionary, and I can decide whether I give you one. So dictionary after. Because you guys don't go to op shops, they're like $2. You just buy one. But a good one. So Lydia, Archie.
To an extent, Whitechapel does.
Yeah, you need better dictionary. Hence I put the sticker on it.
He's too, I think, he doesn't really do anything about it. He thinks for the future, but doesn't actually think it will come to actuality.
Can I point out a thing? So some characters use their power to advocate for the powerless. Lydia, Archie, and Mick. I think it's very interesting that it's Lydia and Nigel. Interestingly, all of these characters are people who have also experienced being powerless. That it's only the people who have experienced powerlessness that actually try and advocate. Because Lydia has experienced powerlessness because she is a woman in the South, in a very patriarchal society that controls her, and basically she can't do anything. She's a prisoner in that home, without the permission of the males in her household. Like, she has no power in that house. So she knows what it is to be powerless.
Well, you could just be devil's advocate. You could argue that Sanders Senior and Sanders Junior are both put in their place by Whitechapel, into Whitechapel.
Yeah.
And they don't, but that's just a little sentence. Those who have to the extreme.
That they've experienced it. Yeah, they know how it feels to be powerless. All right, should we have a look at some similarities? Differences?
Yeah.
We've done similarities. One line. All right, differences.
I always do that.
Yeah, that's very sexual.
You know that they can hear you.
Oh well.
Oh, yeah, this is
Right, Menashe.
One's about war, one's about slaves.
Very true. It's a very different discussion about power, isn't it?
I mean, that's not bad.
But differences. One's a number, one's a flash.
Leave them alone.
no go.
So now you take the piece out of it.
Yes.
I turn your little nuggets of dirt into gold. You're welcome. Because he's got really good ideas. It's just about making them sound fancy. So,
I'll expand my vocabulary.
thank you. So Menashe, very different representations of powerlessness. Slavery versus, I guess, indentured labour and social inequality. Like, in Black Diggers, we have indentured labour, which is indentured labour is basically, it's basically how Australians say slavery. It's like how we pronounce slavery.
Yeah.
Indentured labour is when you don't pay a person, but you pay them in board and food, and that you get to live there with no rent, and that's but isn't that slavery? Yes, it is. But Australians don't like saying slavery. We don't like to admit that we had slaves, so we call it indentured labour to make us feel better. It's Australian slang for slavery. So Menashe, Lolly, Chopper Chop, Cola,
Yep, let's see. Black Diggers?
Sophie, sorry.
In Black Diggers,
Shh.
had a choice and they signed themselves up for war, where in the longest memories they don't have a choice.
Good girl. They don't have a choice for something. They're born into it.
I'm a purchase.
Good girl. Like cattle going to auction and imaging. Yeah. Good girl. I think that good girl. Should have. You know what? Wish my figure would come up with something like that.
What's your data?
Good. Lollipop or gummies? Or there's also muesli bars and shapes. Barbecue or pizza? Well, I don't know how this is going to go. We're scary. It adds an element of fear and excitement to the classroom.
Yeah, they're bought or born.
Yeah.
Innate or.
Alright. Jack.
Did you say that some characters in Black Diggers experience power, whereas no characters in the Longest Memory experience power?
Yeah, that
Nice one.
the characters in Black Diggers, they actually experience like genuine power, like that they actually, where it's not like an illusion, it's actually real. Yeah. The boys in BD experience real power, equality, and I guess even like that idea of like physical power, you know, like, so you have like the ghost and how he talks about like their white lives slip through his fingers and stuff like that. That's a sense of power, surely. Like the choice of being able to take away someone's life.
Would that be with the scene of the British slaves?
Yeah, they have no power.
The slaves,
Are you talking about like what are they called?
they were getting bashed. Some white person was bashed because, or was it?
Are you talking about the Barbados guys? Yeah.
So they yell out, "You don't wash your dirty."
Yeah. Don't you remember? And he says
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mick beats him up because he's like, they said I didn't wash.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
because
Oh, yes.
Remember when we told Heath he had to do a Barbadian accent?
Oh, mate, you do chips for that. Right, chips for that. Ever. It was the best ever.
It stays within me.
But
Yeah,
says never experiences it. Chopper chop or gummies? Are you just using Jack for his lollies? His brain so that he gets lollies. That's what she's really here for. She's like, I will exploit his brain to get lollies. Alright, Hannah. Yeah, it's not like a have not. It's like, yeah. So you have like Mr. W, Sanders, who is obviously underneath, senior, junior, and then you have slaves.
So a white woman is just above a slave. But you could almost put an animal above a slave. Although an animal can't build a house.
Well, they talk about them as if they're cattle.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should put them in. Yeah, women, and then slaves. There's a hierarchy of power. Whereas, yeah, in Black Diggers, it's definitely not a hierarchy of power. It's like you have it or you don't. In
Make sure they're white.
BD, it is a situation of have or have not. Yeah. And I think that's really interesting, that there isn't as much complexity to the power structure. Yes? yeah, that there is kind of like this place of escape. Yeah. So in the longest memory, there is a, let's call it what they call it, a paradise.
What did they call them at the start of the book? The something Atlantis that he tries to aspire to. Counterfeit Atlantis. This mythical place that exists that you can never quite get it, like just like Atlantis.
Let's put that in as well. Counterfeit Atlantis. Yeah. In the longest memory, there is a paradise, a counterfeit Atlantis, where the powerless could go to attain freedom. Yeah. I would also say, and this is coming from what Hanny said, Chopper Chop or other related items. Chopper Chop, fruity or normal? Oh, fruity. Lemonade or cola? Try the new flavours. Alright. What were we going to say? Oh. Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes?
I don't know if this like goes on with what I was saying, but in the longest memory, there are characters, like white characters that are still
Powerless. Yeah.
like Sanders is like less
He's fairly-
powerful than Mr. Whitechapel.
Yeah, he's
They're
fairly
like
powerless
biggest.
himself. Yeah.
Most of the white characters are just, they all have the same amount of power.
And just going back to that first point, could the counterfeit Atlantis and Black Diggers be what?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I'll write that in capital. Although, is that war in BD? That could be like, like one of those third paragraphs that you're like, however, and you make yourself look really smart. I love the third paragraph where you like say something that just like,
We only have a couple of sentences.
yeah, because you're like, I've got to get this out. Yeah. All right. I actually really like that because then you could use, the veteran with the glass and how he says, curse war but bless it because it, it gave me. Yeah. So I reckon that could be a really good little although paragraph. I love an although paragraph. They're my favourite of the paragraphs.
Although in Black Diggers, the sergeant doesn't have power and he's white. Although the guy that tries to attack when on the ship and the other guys beat him up.
Yeah, but that's in that fantasy land of war, isn't it? Where like everybody's equal.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry. The longest memory has white characters without power. Whereas I don't need to write that. I'm sure we already know that. And that is the Sanderses, and Lydia. Oh, can we also talk about and Mrs. Whitechapel and Cook? Oh no, Cook's black. And Mrs. I forgot. Can we also talk about the women for a second? So in The Longest Memory, we have another form of prejudice, which is sexism. We don't just have racism in the text, we also have sexism. That Lydia is this prisoner in the home, that nobody respects her opinion, nobody respects her wishes, her wants, her needs. Nobody cares about that. When she writes into the Virginian, she's basically like, oh, that's really good. It's really cute that you've written this, cute little thing. But, welcome to the real world, honey. Nobody cares. So that's something.
In that respect, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, she can write and think. Nigel, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. It's the same. It's the same kind of prejudice that she experiences. Lydia. sexism is shown in the longest memory through the treatment of Lydia.
It's almost like right to afraid to
Yeah. Well, I think for Wright just kind of has this one track mind that it's like, I need to get this message out. I'm not going to explore other avenues. Lollipop or gummies? Right. Fruity? Pardon?
Yes, please.
Okay. Strawberry? Huh? That was a good throw. Anything else? Yes, darling.
While the characters in Black Digger strive to attain power in their own community, the characters in the longest memory just want to escape. The
Yeah.
power that's held over them.
Yeah, good. In BD, strive for power in their own communities. In the longest memory, they just strive to escape the repression. Yeah. Can we all just acknowledge how I just wrote escape? Escape. Escape. Yeah. I'd also say as well, I guess this kind of follows on with what Finton just said, but not only do they strive to, like, in Black Diggers, they strive to make it better for their whole community. Like, it's all about, like, if you look at Nigel and how he kind of tries to write in and make people aware of the massacres, and then Archie tries to improve, like, the lives of the people on, the workers at the station that he works at, and Mick is trying to get land for everybody, for all the guys that are there with him. They strive to make it better for their all of them. Like, they fight for all of them, like a united thing. Whereas, you know, in the longest memory, they just worry about the individual, like them escaping. Like, it's, yeah, they don't try and like Chapel doesn't try and get a whole bunch of people out. He just tries to get himself out, which you can understand because of the desperation of that situation. So characters in BD try to improve the lot of their whole community, whereas in Longest Memory, they only try to save themselves.
Are you complaining? I'll give it back now, please.
Gummies or chop chops or mix it up, shapes. Chop chop.
Maybe Friday.
Strawberry? Have you got a strawberry yet? Okay.
I finish work at 9.
Alright. I saw Jack at his work the other day.
Yeah.
Mm.
No pay.
I did. It was very cute.
Working hard.
Oh, look, there wasn't a lot to do, so I can't hold it against him. Yeah. Characters in Black Diggers try to improve the lot of their whole community, whereas in The Longest Memory, they only try and save themselves. This makes sense due to the desperation of the circumstances. That, you know, you're talking about like life and death scenarios. Any other differences? I'd say, interestingly, in The Longest Memory, they, like, the powerlessness kind of, like, encourages them to kind of turn on each other. Like, you know how, like, all the slaves now hate Whitechapel? Like, they don't kind of look at the complexity of the situation and they were trying to protect him and stuff like that. Or am I going too far? What do you think? I guess. Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. So they kind of would have. Yeah, that's very true. So maybe, like, should we make a comment about that? The fact that he could even do that. So, yeah. Whitechapel's ability to even approach Mr. W shows that he did have some power. And his abuse of it is, what would you say? How do they respond there? Is despised, I guess. Anything else we want to add, ladies, gents? No? Happy with that? Yeah. Obviously, you've got some really basic things. So, like, obviously in Black Diggers, there's no physical abuse of power. Like, no one gets beaten. Yeah. It is more social. Yeah. Yeah. Oh! Can I skip back? Is that going to annoy people? To go back to similarities?
Oh, yes. Oh, no.
Okay. You could just like put this at the bottom. The one thing I do really want to add is that both texts explore the like emotional toll of powerlessness, don't they? They both kind of show us what it does to people to be powerless. Is that me? Oh. I thought it was my computer. And I was like, hello? That's going to be embarrassing on the video. You can't help it that he's popular, okay?
Definitely.
It's definitely his mum. But, you know, I don't see your mum calling. Yeah, maybe she has. All right. So, ladies, gentlemen, anything else we want to add? Oh, is it not? Who is it? Oh, it's Jacob. Almost as boring.
Who's that?
Now
Right.
I'm getting one separate.
You know why? Because it's 28, so your parents are now like arriving to pick you up.
It's like when you take a
Right. Yes.
What? There's no point.
Don't take his load.
He's right there.
Right. Yeah. Right. Just needed to talk to the colleagues. Right. Any other points that you want to bring up?
Oh, you dog.
All right. Should we leave it there? Happy with that? I think there is plenty of meat on that bone. Well done, guys. Bye.